If you're ready to harness the power of your communications data, blast off with Nihilus today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ram, developer advocate at Nihilus, and welcome to Coding with Nihilus. On this live stream, we talk about building with APIs, programming languages, building with Nihilus's communication layer, and other things.
Hi, I'm Black, senior developer advocate here at Nihilus.
Hey, Block, how you been?
I've been doing good, Ram. How about you?
I'm doing good. I think our worlds are colliding right now, where we're doing both stuff with AI.
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe it's a good time to jump into this live stream.
Cool, totally.
Yeah, and in this live stream, we're going to talk about how to use AI to generate email responses.
Mhm.
And I know we've done some past live streams. Maybe Blog, you can remind me for yourself, which live streams have you done in the past with regards to AI?
So we have done how to generate an email. So basically, you go like, I want to send an email to you, for example, and I want to talk about going to a restaurant. So I let AI to generate the email.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I think this was the one that was voice controlled as well.
Yeah.
So we did that one with voice. I think we've done some just using ChatGPT.
Mhm.
And as well, we've done some on prompt engineering in terms of what questions you should ask ChatGPT or how to make the most out of ChatGPT. And
we
in this
also-
live stream, sorry, what's that?
We did also one on how to localize emails.
Yeah.
So you have one in English, and you can generate like in Spanish, in German, or whatever language you want, using also
Okay.
OpenAI.
Yeah, so we have quite a few use cases of building with our communication layer, with the Nihilus communication layer in terms of emails, using OpenAI, and then as well as some other AI tools. And what I want to spend more time talking about today is Hugging Face. So I know, Blog, you just recently mentioned that you spent some time on Hugging Face before, but you haven't looked at it recently.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about what is Hugging Face, how can we actually use Hugging Face and explore the community that's developing on Hugging Face.
Cool.
So the way I like to think of Hugging Face is a repository of open source models that you can either run locally on your machine, or you can use the Hugging Face API to run specific models.
Cool.
So as an example, let's take a look. Let me just share my screen that we can kind of start taking a look at the actual website. So here on the Hugging Face, I'm just on my profile, but the idea here is that you can use different models to do certain things. And as well, you can train models using Hugging Face as well. So they offer infrastructure as well if you want to build models on Hugging Face. But for now, we're just going to look at how can we actually use models that are open sourced on Hugging Face for generating email responses. And a good place to start is Hugging Face has like a collection of different models. And the way they like to call them is tasks. So these are tasks that you want to complete. And a few examples of those are computer vision. So if you want to look at an image or you want to classify an image, they have different models for those specific tasks. The one we're going to spend time on today is more focused on natural language processing. And the one that we're specifically interested in is text generation. So if you want to generate an email response, you're essentially doing text generation in that case.
Mhm.
So just clicking through the different tasks, it'll give you a description of what you need to provide, like inputs, what the model does, and what is an example output.
Interesting.
Yeah, and just to navigate the UI a bit more, here is an example of a model. So they always drop example models that you can use. And this one is the I don't know how to pronounce that exactly. So it's TIIUAE / Falcon 7B instruct. So they have different names based off of the creator. And it can tell you what the task is here. So this one's text generation. And you can look at different examples of running this model on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Right.
this is where it becomes more interesting when you actually have to start deciding which models to use.
Yeah.
So I just want to show another model before we jump in. So let's take a look at GPT-2. So GPT-2 is an older version of the GPT-4 model that's available. And this has been open sourced by OpenAI,
Oh,
I believe. And what this model does, it actually does text completion. So you can see examples of it taking an initial text and completing it for you.
Oh, nice.
So this is a good way for you to explore different models on Hugging Face. And as well, I just want to point out one more thing here is at the top, you see Hosted Inference API.
Mhm.
What this means is that if we click through, it tells you that you can actually use the Hugging Face API to make calls to this model.
Oh, okay.
So Hugging Face gives you roughly 80,000 publicly available models that you can use,
Oh.
and it's free to use up to a certain point. So
Mhm.
this is a good place to start out if you want to do different tasks and you're trying to figure out the best model to use. You have access to all these different models to try them out.
Cool.
Yeah. So for now, we've kind of looked at different tasks. We've talked about choosing a model. And as well, now we're just taking a look at the Hugging Face Inference API setup. So if we take a look at the overview, it'll tell you all the steps that you need to go through.
Mhm.
And the main thing that you're going to need are two things. You're going to need an API token. So once you've registered and logged in, you just need to confirm your email, and then you can go to your own profile. So here's my profile. I'm not going to show you the token. Please don't share your tokens publicly. You can go ahead and create a new token, or you can use an existing token. And we just need to use the read token because we're just going to be sending information. We're not going to be modifying anything across the Hugging Face API. And then you can go ahead and generate a token. So once you have this token, we're going to grab one more thing, which is the actual NPM package. So we're going to do this in Node. This example is going to be in Node. And the NPM package, once you install it, all you need to do is provide it the access token or the API token so you can start making calls to the Hugging Face Inference API.
Mhm.
So once you have that installed, here's an example of how to use it. So you just import the library. There we go. You import the library and then you just pass in your token.
Mhm.
So once you pass in your token, you can start using the different functionality. And our example is going to be more focused on text generation. So this is an example of what we're going to do, where we're going to make, we'll use GPT-2 as the first example. And this is going to be for generating text. So you provide an input and it's going to provide you with an output.
Cool.
So now that we've gone through the setup, the configuration, what is required, let's take a look at actually a few examples in the code base. So let me jump over here. And the first example is we're going to use ChatGPT. And I'm just providing it an input. It's not actually being used for anything because the GPT-2 model, what it does is it essentially like expands on an existing sentence. So
Okay.
here we're just giving it a sentence. Let's grab a coffee on, and it's going to complete that sentence for us. So I'm going to save this. I'm just going to jump over to the terminal. So let me clear the terminal, and I'm going to call the function. And here it's going to say, let's grab a coffee on the way to the office. I'm going to be honest.
Okay. Honest is
So one thing I was testing out earlier is if these responses are cached, because I still get the same response each time.
good.
So
Oh,
that's something I need to figure out afterwards. But the benefit of this model, it essentially just completes a sentence for you. So maybe not as useful in our use case. I need to explore this model a bit more, but let's take a look at another model, and I can describe how I found this model as well. So the next model that we're going to use is going to be, actually it's this one right here. Let's see, there we go. So this model that I'm using is, I'm not going to pronounce the full model, but it's by Open Assistant. And how I found this model, before we jump into the example, I'm just going to show you is I was actually on Hugging Chat. So Hugging Chat is Hugging Face's version of ChatGPT.
Mhm.
And if I closely look at the current model, it pointed to OpenAssist.
Okay. Yeah, I think
So
that's
I
the
just started,
try.
what's that?
That's the one I tried. The first when I was trying Hugging Face, I tried the Hugging Chat, but
Okay.
yeah, never any of the models. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I went to check out the Hugging Chat
Mhm.
model that's available, but it doesn't have, it says it has API access. And I think I tried taking a look at this, but I decided to take a look at other models that are available. So all I went to was to Open Assistant. I just went to for most downloads, so the most downloaded model, and this is the model I decided to use.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
This is just kind of like my thought process to see how can I find different models to use, because this is something I'm still learning. With any machine learning, you can always create models, but it's also finding the right model for your use case. So in this case, you can give it a prompt, you can give it the end of the text, and then once you type in assistant, the assistant will take over and enter in the rest. So what's the total population of the Earth? This is the end of text, and then it will give you the total population as of a certain time frame. And one thing I'm noticing here is this is something I caught earlier, that it actually cuts off the text. So I don't know if this is a limitation of the API right now, but it's actually cutting off the text as of 2023. So I don't know if it's referencing a date, but there's a limitation on making API calls, which I've noticed as well.
Probably.
Yeah, so we're going to take this model for now. So let me take this model over, and I'm just copying this name right here over to the Hugging Face Inference API. So here's the model. So I'm taking the model, the model owner, and then the name, and then I'm giving it a prompt. I'm going to say respond to the following email. And in the email, all I'm asking is, would you like to grab coffee?
Okay. Cool.
So it's going to decide the response for me, which is not as ideal. And we're going to get closer to a more ideal scenario next. But let's run this in the terminal and see what comes back. So it's saying, respond to the following. Would you like to grab coffee? And the response is, yes, I would love to grab coffee.
Nice. And if you run it again,
I think it would give me the same response.
Okay.
So this is the one thing I do want to test, is if I can get a different response each time, or how can I get variation?
Yeah.
And we're going to do one more. And in this example, we're going to give it some sort of input. And I think this is where it's going to be a bit more useful, is if you have a specific type of requests in your email or specific type of emails, you can start generating the same response for those emails. So for this example, we're going to give it the input, which is the email, would you like to grab a coffee, or the question. And we're just going to say, I'm too busy to grab a coffee. So we're going to give it some guidance on how to actually formulate a response.
Oh, interesting.
So let's try running this. And here it's going to say, I'm too busy to grab a coffee. I'm swamped with work and can't find the. So I know this is something we pointed out earlier. I'm assuming it should say can't find the time, but I have to figure out why it's not actually completing the sentence. I think it's a limitation in the API.
Yeah, probably maybe.
But let's do one more. And I'm gonna give it a more positive answer. So instead of saying I'm too busy to grab a coffee, let's see what happens when I say, I grab a coffee next week, Tuesday afternoon. So it's not grammatically correct. I don't know if I did that on purpose, but I just want to see what comes out when we use this model.
Cool.
So let's call that again. So I will be available to grab a coffee on Tuesday afternoon as requested in the email.
That's good. It doesn't seem to be cut off. So
yeah, so this one worked out well. And I think this is this is a good direction to go in when it comes to generating email responses, where we give it some guidance in terms of like some direction to go in, as opposed to having to iterate on the draft multiple times.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so that's using the Hugging Face API. I just want to kind of shout out, just like and subscribe. Go to follow us online on the Twitter, the LinkedIn's, everywhere. And yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback. Love to hear any thoughts you have on our live streams or our content. Vlog's been working hard on the past few live streams. I know he's been solo, so I'm happy to join him today.
Yeah, nice change as always.
Awesome. And as well, let me see, we are actually going to be attending the We Are Developers World Congress.
Cool.
So this will be in Berlin. So we're partners of the We Are Developers World Congress. This is going to be in 2 weeks' time. So July 27th to 28th in Berlin, in the CityCube Center. And we're excited to have anyone join us. Again, July 26th to 28th in Berlin. And as well, I'm going to be doing a workshop on a similar topic. So I'm going to be talking about how to build an email responder with generative AI and Nihilus.
Awesome. I would love to be there. But again, yeah.
We'll make sure you can catch it afterwards. As well, we want to share a discount to all our community. Ticket discount. If you can attend, please go ahead and sign up using this code WWC23 hyphen friends 10. So you'll get a discount on a ticket for the conference coming up in 2 weeks. And as well, you can follow up on the conference at worldconference.dev, or as well the hashtag #WeAreDevs.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm going to essentially continue the live stream that we started working on today
Nice.
as a workshop at the conference. So it'll be fun to work with more developers.
Yes, always a nice thing to get to know more developers and work with them. Should they have great ideas?
Awesome. Black, did you want to take this one?
Sure. Remember that we have live streams every Wednesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, or Eastern time, and 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Awesome.
We'll mix up there.
No worries. We're on twice a week, and we'd love to have you join us. And as well, you can catch all things developer related at developer.nihilist.com. So it's the main site for our documentation. Our docs team has been working quite a bit to make our docs up to date and make sure all our developers are getting all that they need. So go ahead and check that out.
Charlie. So I have a topic for next week that I just remembered to put in, so you didn't saw it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be talking about email parsing with Ruby and ChatGPT, which is going to be nice. And finally, I'm able to use GPT-4 because it was released publicly, so I can use it, which is nice.
Awesome. Well, that's good. Looking forward to doing a bit more AI with you as well in the coming weeks. And that's it for this live stream.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brian. I told you I haven't used Hugging Face before. Now, with your guidance, I'm going to be able to start digging into it. So that's pretty exciting. Thanks for that.
That's great. That's great. I'm excited to hear what you find going through the different models. But that's going to be where I spend a bit of time over the next week or two.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everyone.